Every time one of you people say, and I've seen it said at the scene of the arrest, and also I've seen it said in court many times by a person in your position, you have to prove jurisdiction. You have to prove that first. It says right here, jurisdiction must be proven. What you're saying is so stupid, you should be laughed out of court. You're confusing a paragraph that says that if there is a doubt, if you look at the paragraph you're citing, it only says if there is a legitimate doubt that there is jurisdiction. It does not say just because somebody stands up and says the word Jewish diction, which is not the way to pronounce it, and doesn't know what they're talking about, that the court has to stop what they're doing. And every time a person insists on that, it proves that they're absolutely a fool. But the important thing we get to here is that you don't have a right to have it proven at your request to your liking. Who do you think it has to be proven to? It has to be proven to the satisfaction of whom? You're thinking, well, they have to prove it to me. The pamphlet says right here, they got to prove they have jurisdiction. No, they don't. You have to prove, if you're the one who says they do have jurisdiction, to them, to the judge. And if you are the person claiming they do have jurisdiction, you have to prove it to the judge if the judge says there is a doubt. But if the judge says there's no doubt they have jurisdiction, the issue is not a legitimate one, then nobody has to prove anything to anybody. But the idea that you think that wherever you are, like if you're at the side of the road, they have to prove jurisdiction at the side of the road, to whom? Who would they prove that to? Do you have a judge in the car? Oh, I brought this judge with me right here. Well, and remember, they would have to be a judge of the superior court that you're in, not of your moronic superior court. That won't get you there. So you can't sit there and say, you have to prove jurisdiction. I don't have to prove anything unless the judge wants to hear the arguments. And most judges, this might be all judges, would tell you, if you want the court to examine the issue of jurisdiction, first, you're going to have to make a written motion. You're going to have to file it and serve it in compliance with the rules of the court. And no, the judge's job is not to tell you how to do any of that. That's not their job. They don't help you or the other side. And you're going to have to convince the judge first that there is a doubt as to jurisdiction. Again, this theory you have and the other people have that as long as they just throw out the word jurisdiction, that raises the issue for the court, that's from somebody who doesn't know how to read law. That's just absolutely not true. It's complete and total nonsense. But then, if the judge says, oh, that's miraculous. Yeah, you're right. Let me check into that. Well, the reason you had to file your papers in writing is so that the prosecution could have them 2 weeks before this hearing, and they could study and have their papers to the contrary all written and have researched your legal authorities to see if they're valid or not. And if they're not valid, which probably is the case, they have written them down. Here's why they are not true. And if you're lucky, that's all they've done. And if you're not lucky, they've said, therefore, that means this person did not read them or did not understand them and yet still stuck the court with the time and trouble of answering them and should be held in contempt and go to jail for wasting the court's time. But when you yell jurisdiction, jurisdiction is determined by the court, not by you. It doesn't have to be proven to your liking. Jeez. So this one got me agitated, just talking about it right now. Well, that's going to be enough for today's issue. Judge Axon Fleet, Listen next week, next Thursday. We'll have you another episode. It's going to be the last one about the roadside and what your obligations are at the roadside. What's the best way for you to behave at the roadside to ensure you live? Which crazinesses should you get rid of? And I think I gave you 4 today that any one of those could easily save your life. And one today that could save your money by telling you that you probably can't force them to give you your money back when these things don't work. And they've never worked. But the problem with that is that the courts have a policy about not helping anyone whose claim is based on the fact that they were trying to commit a crime and the plot to commit the crime fell through. No, the courts say you don't have clean hands. That's the clean hands policy. So, nope, you're not going to get your money back for wasting it on the big pile of documents you got there. We'll see you next week. Don't argue with the cops.